Stay tuned, everybody, because it's time for the Playin on Music Row podcast with your host, Fran. Heard each week on this station. And now, here's Fran.
Well, I would like to introduce and welcome today's guest to Playing on Music Row, and that is Chloe Chadwick, who is very busy. Has a very busy day. She has a very busy day today. She's going to tell us about it later on. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me on.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I wanted to find out, you have a new release coming out. Actually, it's an EP, right? And it's called Same Old Brand New Me. And can you give us a little idea about like where it was recorded, at least, and it's some of the people who helped you with the project?
Yeah, of course. It was actually recorded back in my home city of Stoke-on-Trent. Recorded by two fantastic brothers, very talented brothers called Tom and Matt Bishop, at Inspire Studios in Stone, which is in Staffordshire. I've been working with them for the last 12 months on the EP. It's my first release, EP release since the album, my debut album, Dust Bowl Jukebox, which came out in 2017. So it's quite a while, really, that I've waited to release new music, and there's reasons for that. But Same Old Brand New Me is I suppose a play on words in terms of it's still me that people are getting. Whoever bought my previous album will still have elements of that in this new EP. But there's also some new creativity that's gone on. I'm not getting any younger, so I've kind of sidestepped and tried different types of songwriting, and obviously now I've matured. There's a lot more to kind of write about. There's more mistakes that have been made along the way, and we learn from those mistakes. So I suppose the songwriting has matured a lot since Dust Bowl Jukebox and life experiences. I've got a lot more to kind of talk and write about. So there's lots more kind of fresh takes on this new EP for people to delve into.
Okay, well, if you were getting younger, I certainly would have a lot of questions for you about that. You could give me some tips. Let me ask you, how did Same Old Brand New Me be born and become a project? What is the theme behind it?
As I've said, really, it's more about the mature side of Chloe Chadwick now. Dust Bowl Jukebox was me finding my love of country music, and also kind of finding myself, I suppose. I wrote that song in my late 20s. And it was a fun album. It was me experiencing country music and Americana music, which I'd found along the way in my 20s, and I absolutely loved it. And I got so passionate about it, and I really got into country and Americana music. And so that was kind of the introduction of country music to me. Whereas Same Old Brand New Me is a plethora of genres, really, that I absolutely love. From genres that I've taken on board since I was 6-7 years old, which is pop rock. I love a catchy hook, I love a catchy chorus, and I feel like I have a flair of that in my own music. But I've also still captured that love and passion of country music that I put into Dust Bowl Jukebox. I suppose I've just put new elements into this Same Old Brand New Me. It's also a new me. The last 4 or 5 years we've had COVID. I've relocated. I went through a tough breakup, so I've had a lot to write about with Same Old Brand New Me as well. So, the doors kind of reopened for my music career, and hopefully people like it.
Okay, well, we say over here in Music City, a breakup is worth 5 hit songs. So there you go.
It's worth more to Polly Pierce, I think.
In your case, it has to be 6. Well, you have a song which we found, which is a live production recording. You did it live, called "Rattling Bones," and I like to play that particular live video. But can you give a little idea of how you came up with that song? What that's all about?
Yeah, Rattling Bones was really a tough song to write about. It was going through a tough breakup that I went through, and I suppose taking back control of oneself. It's got a dark undertone, that song, but it's actually a song about empowerment. Taking back control of oneself when you've been through a tough situation, and to know that the grass is greener on the other side.
Okay. Well, we're going to play it right now. Rattling Bones by Chloe Chadwick.
Really appreciate it. This is Rattling Bones. Hope you enjoy it. And thank you, brother. Kicking bones makes me quiver. Lord, get me out of this hellhole. Time for being a pushover, 'cause I loved you like I never loved before. These 6, 7 stones are breaking my bones. I've tried to drag you out of my mind. I just wanna be at peace with me, 'cause I don't wanna love you like I do. Take my heart, it breaks in two, even though you know what you do. I always find myself right back beside you. 'Cause I'm the only fool, and you're so cool. Rattling bones all the way home. Down on trust couldn't buy me much. Feelings of ice cold, chasing down a double jacket coat. Next day unfolds, revealing evidence. For the list of lies you told out there, victim of your games and a choke in your home. No more. Don't wanna love you like I do, but they take my heart, it breaks in two, even though you know what you do. I always find myself right back beside you, 'cause I'm the only fool, and you're so don't wanna love you like I do. They take my heart, it breaks in two, even though you know what you do. You'll find me there, waiting out for you, 'cause I'm sick of hiding the truth. You hold my heart, I'm done with through, taking back the last ounce of confidence I had there. This is the consequence for treating me so cool. Now comes the fool.
We want to get the applause in there. That's very important.
Yeah.
Who was accompanying you in that song? We should give him credit too.
Definitely. Always happy to give him credit. His name is Mark Bushell. He's from the Northeast. Me and Mark met a number of years back when I lived in the Northeast and first started this kind of country Americana adventure. And Mark was very much at the core of creating that music with me to start with, and he still plays with me today. He seems to follow me about though, because he's moved back. He's moved down here himself for some other work. So he keeps following me wherever I relocate. But it's great because I can, we can still play together live, which is brilliant.
That's great. Yeah, great when you have somebody like that understands you to play. Who are some of the artists or writers that have influenced you?
Oh, that's a big question. I have a long list, really. I suppose the ones that I can think of off the top of my head straight away from even when I was a child. I've been heavily influenced, ever since I was a kid. We always had music in the household. My mum and dad were heavily big influences. So they're the first two that have influenced me in music, because we were brought up on what they liked, which was the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and David Bowie. So the kind of usual I don't know, big inspirations that come from the UK. But I kind of found the love of the country and Americana myself in my 20s, of which I fell in love with Johnny Cash in my 20s. His songwriting is like no other. He was really inspiring in terms of the songwriting side of things. I don't think anyone can write a song like Johnny Cash tells his stories. It just, he takes you to another place. So he's a massive inspiration. In terms of performance wise, I was a big Michael Jackson fan as a kid. And like he was a performer and an entertainer like no other. Obviously, Freddie Mercury's up there as well, but Michael Jackson was my big inspiration as a kid in terms of wanting to entertain and you know, put bums on seats and entertain people. So I definitely draw inspiration from Michael Jackson where that's concerned. Big fan of Zac Brown Band. The Chicks, who I've seen live, absolutely love Natalie Maines and the Sisters. Their harmonies are fantastic. So yeah, I could probably go on for hours in terms of who's inspired me. Lots of different types of music though as well. I'm very open and eclectic with my music. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good laundry list. When did you begin writing and actually performing your original music?
At a very young age, to be honest. Obviously, I wasn't young enough or old enough to go to perform in the pubs and stuff like that when I was under 18. But I actually started writing music as soon as I had a guitar, which was, I think I was about 9 when I got my first acoustic guitar. My dad could play a little bit. He kind of taught me some chords and away I went. And not only did I start learning cover songs, but I also started to write music at a very early age, like, you know, little teenager love songs and things like that. And I suppose that's how everyone starts, really, isn't it? And the younger you start, I suppose the better hopefully that you become with years and years of training. So yeah, I started very, 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 very young. And I'm glad I did, because I sometimes still look back at those songs, and although, you know, I think, oh, those lyrics aren't really very good, Chloe, the actual thought process behind it and the structure of the song and the melody and the chorus and the verse, you know, I was actually very proud that I could do that at such a young age, you know.
Well, sure. Now it seems like you write a lot about. You mentioned this, which about real life. Are all your songs pretty much come from life experience?
Yeah, I think when you write music, you have to be able to engage with it and you know, have soul and have meaning behind that song. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure many songwriters, including myself, we've delved into other stories. I just find that what works best for me is what comes out of my own heart and my own feelings, and hopefully people can take their own inspirations or thoughts and views from that. But Don't Be Shy, which is a song that was on my EP that I released in 2015, that was a made-up song that I wrote about a couple that lived in the deep south, and he was forever going to the bar and leaving her at home, and she kind of knew she was being kind of treated badly, and he was, you know, playing away a little bit. And so I had a little play around with that kind of non-fictional kind of thing and fiction in terms of songwriting, and I actually really enjoyed it. But I think there's nothing more meaningful than writing a song from the heart that you've experienced, because people can kind of feel how you felt when you wrote that song, you know, and I think that's important.
Okay. Well, how would you describe your sound? Because I know you mentioned country, but I hear other influences in your music. How would you describe your sound?
It's really difficult to pin down a sound nowadays. You know, I think because I've had such an eclectic mix of music and I've been brought up with all these fantastic artists in the UK and across the world, it's sometimes hard to pinpoint where I actually stand in a genre. And I don't think that's a bad thing, to be more eclectic with your songwriting and your music. So I definitely draw inspiration from pop rock, because that's what I've always known and what I've always loved. And then obviously the country is, you know, the experiences that I've had in the last 15 years on country and Americana music. I just love that rawness side of country and Americana music. And I think when you pick up an acoustic guitar straight away, the acoustic, the wood sound is to me country music, and it's folk, and it's all things that I love about that laid back kind of rawness of starting to write a song. So I really love the acoustic element, and I always write a song starting with my acoustic guitar, always. So the country and the folk and the Americana element definitely comes from that, I think, as well as the people that have inspired me along the way. But I've definitely got a rock side to me. Yeah.
Well, I think I agree with you about starting your songs with the guitar, because, and I'm a piano player, but I write with the guitar because that's where you get the drive, and you have the drive on your songs. Yeah. I think it's going to be the first single. Is that this it's called the Temper or Temper Gene? You have both. Which one is it?
Temper Gene.
Temper Gene. Okay. And I want to play that particular video too. But can you give us a little idea about that particular song? And it's going to be, I guess tomorrow is the day to drop for radio, right?
Temper Gene's out. Temper Gene came out on Friday, and then the EP drops tomorrow. But Temper Gene's a song seen through the perspective of someone that's kind of caught up in someone else's problems. They kind of believe that they can help, but actually it dawns on them that they keep going around in circles, and things never change. And I'm sure people can relate to this, and if they've ever been in a relationship where it's been tough at times and you feel like you can change that person, but it kind of never seems to happen. A leopard never changes its spots, if you like. So yeah, again, quite a serious kind of song, really, and one that I wrote from my own experience and from my heart, and hopefully people can relate to it and move forwards in their lives.
Okay, well, we're going to listen to the video Temper Gene by, who's that? Chloe Chadwick, right? Let's play it now. Very dramatic.
Yeah, you got it, Temper Gene. You operate like a mean machine. You turn into a psycho. And round we go. Yeah, you got it, Temper Gene. And everything in between. Turn into a psycho. Then round and round we go. Round we go. And round and round and round and around. And around, round and around. And around, round and around and round.
Okay. Very good. Let me ask you this. I know you're having an album. You say your album is going to come out tomorrow, Friday. Do you plan on having a CD release party or something, anything like that?
Yeah, the EP launch party is actually happening tonight. The venue called the Artisan Tap in Stoke-on-Trent, which is in my home city. Tickets have sold really well. We've got a couple of supports, and I'm playing with my live band, so I'm going to be showcasing some songs from the older album, but I'm going to be playing all the songs from the new EP, which is a 6-track EP. That people can go listen to as soon as tomorrow, and people can order it on the website, which is chloechadwick.com.
Okay. Well, will you be touring or performing in support of your album?
Yeah, I'm currently in talks with a company at the minute in regards to going on some sort of tour at the back end of this year for the EP. I have a few dates available on the website where people can find me gigging across the UK. One in particular is at Blackpool Winter Gardens, which is a big festival in January. So yeah, there's a few things on the horizon, which is good, and hopefully more to come as well.
Fantastic. Is there a way, because I know you're going to be touring and if people want to know about your music, what's the best way to find out about about Chloe Chadwick?
Yeah. Find out on the website, chloechadwick.com. Nice and easy.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty straightforward and very easy because you have only one place. Now, I've asked you a lot of questions. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you would like to share with the listening audience?
No, I think you've covered everything. It was just a case of, I'm really, really pleased to be back out again making music. I suppose for the Americans, to make you aware that country music is forever growing in England. So please, don't ignore us, and I hope more artists come over from the US, because we really do love the kind of countryside of things over here in the UK, and it's definitely growing. So yeah, and it's good for me to be a part of it.
Well, I'll tell you, Chloe Chadwick, everyone here at Nashville Broadcasting Networks want to thank you for taking time. I know today's very busy because you have your CD release getting ready to go, but I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
It's no problem. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on.